And we're going to take a look at a tabbed panel, which is done in JavaScript. So this little panel has 3 tabs, and they're used to change the content that is displayed. And we're going to take a look at the HTML and JavaScript for this. So just looking at the HTML, couple things to note. The buttons up top have a class of tab links, and you'll notice that there's also an ID which identifies basically each poem that we want to display. And then we get into the content section, which is the section with the poem itself. That also has an ID, and then they all have a class of tab content. In the JavaScript, we have 3 different listeners. And what they're listening for is the ID associated with these 3 buttons. So we're listening for Henley, Thomas, and Frost, which are these 3 buttons here. So if they call or if they click on the buttons, what happens is we end up calling a function. And I could have set this up as an anonymous function, but there was a lot of repetitive code. So what I did was I set it up as a separate function, which I'm calling openPoem. You'll notice I have the event object here, which I pass along. And then I'm also passing the content section ID. Okay, and so if we look here, each content section has an ID. So when they click on the button, I'm calling openPoem, sending the event object, and then I'm basically passing along the different content section that should be activated. So we come into openPoem, we're bringing in the event object and basically the author. Okay, Frost poem, Thomas poem, Henley poem, whoever the author was. Okay, then I'm declaring all my variables, and I'm going to hide everything that is labeled tab content. And then I'm going to open the one I want to display. So I've got get class name, document dot get element by class name, tab content. There are 3 tab content sections. So this is a node list. Okay, and all I'm doing is looping through based on the length of the node list, and I'm changing the display for each tab content area to none. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So when I click on this, first thing it does is it basically hides all of the content areas. Okay, then the next thing it does, this is very similar, it basically removes the active class. Okay, because we don't want them all to be active, we want to actually open a specific content area and activate a specific content area. So we close all the content areas and we change the class from active to blank. So here again, it's going to get elements by class name, looking for tab links. Okay, storing that here. We're looping through. And just to show you where tab links is, that is up here. Okay, so it's looking at our little buttons up here. Then we've got tab links sub-0, which would be this first one, dot class name. And basically what it's doing is it's replacing active with blank. So if this guy was active, it's now blank. Then it goes to this one. Okay, so if this one was active, which it is, it changes it to blank. And then it goes to the third one. Finally, now that we've got all the panels closed, we have all of these changed so that they're not active. Then the job is to show the current content area and add active to the button. Okay, so we use document.getElementById author. Okay, and if you remember, it was passing Henley poem, Thomas poem, or Frost poem. Those IDs are in each content area. Okay, so document.getElementById author.display style.display equals block. That is going to open up the section. And then we are using our event object dot current target dot class name, and we're adding active. And that is going to change the color of the button. So we open it up, change the color of the button, and we're done. Now, all of the other styling you see, as far as the colors, all of that fun stuff, that is done in the tabbed panel CSS. There's some basic CSS that is applied to the page. Okay, not very exciting. And then we have all of the styling for the tabs. Okay, that's controlling the width and the background color and the color of the text. And for the tab buttons, okay, we're impacting how they look. Okay, this is all basic CSS from CIT 180. Nothing new.